From autonomous vehicles hitting the streets to new pressures on retail prices, the global economy is shifting fast. Trade deals are reshaping UK-EU relations while investors are turning to gold and silver as uncertainty looms. All this and more, and I am joined today by Brad Gastworth from Unearthing Opportunities. Good to have you, my friend. What does this Waymo approval mean for the future of autonomous vehicles? Let's start there.
Yeah, it's actually big news, Mike. In terms of their approvals going from city to city, it's another expansion in a major area. And Waymo certainly is the front runner in autonomous vehicles. They've been expanding from two different cities. This is just another notch under their belt, and going into the Bay Area with San Jose is a positive for them. I mean, it'll be interesting to see more partnerships that will be partnering with Waymo with this autonomous technology. And, I expect this to be ultimately will help, Alphabet in the future as well.
How does this help Alphabet, though, and get them ahead of competitors like GM and the like?
Well, it will certainly help the financials, but I mean, ultimately, when the world moves to autonomous, they are the leader. So I mean, you're going to see their ride sharing, their autonomous ride sharing, pick up steam. So right now, even here in South Florida, you can download the app and get a Waymo here in Miami, and you get your autonomous car driving you from point A to point B, and it's getting pretty good share. So to the likes of like an Uber or Lyft, I mean, those companies will be using or going autonomous. The question will be, will they be partnering with a Waymo, and will that company ultimately be the main beneficiary of all of this?
Yeah. Do you reckon we'll see robo-taxis generating real revenue soon? I know it's early days and people are skeptical, and there's all sorts of videos out there of them bumping into things, but do you think we could actually see this become something that really does generate revenue?
So I guess the question really becomes what's defining real, right?
Mm.
What's that dollar amount? I think they absolutely are, making money. I mean, are they profitable? No, that division's not profitable yet. But I do think, let's give it some duration. I'd say within 2 years, I think it'll be a formidable force in ride sharing. I absolutely do. I think it's going to take another 12 to 24 months to get there, as we iron it out, as we get regulations, et cetera. But it's already gaining steam in the cities that it's been launched here in the States. And I think it's it's a matter of time before it just topples
Yeah.
over and really
Yeah,
becomes mainstream.
100%. No, it's incredible technology. But let's jump over to Walmart for the moment. And I understand they're sounding the alarm. Tariffs could lead to double-digit price hikes for some items. That's a big inflationary warning, and it could reshape how consumers are investing and behave. What are you seeing when it comes to Walmart?
Yeah, Mike, you're absolutely right. I mean, Walmart made the comment that the tariffs are going to ultimately increase prices double digit. Our president did not like that comment and pushed back to Walmart. But ultimately, I mean, tariffs are having an impact. I mean, clearly we had a pause with the China side, but you still have significant increase in tariffs across many different countries, and it's going to flow and trickle down to the consumer. I think it's incredibly hard pressed to not think it will. I think you absolutely will see prices going higher. And it's just going to be another interesting moment for the Fed to decide, with inflation ticking up, what will they do with rates? But I absolutely believe that inflation is going to tick higher in the next 6 to 12 months for sure.
Yeah, it seems to be the way it's going. What does this signal for broader retail and the sector, especially those budget retailers out there already doing it tough?
Yeah, and that's the $1 trillion question, Mike. I mean, I expected to see or to put pressure on fundamentals. I mean, it's certainly going to hit margins when your prices are going to get increased. If they don't pass that full amount, then they're going to take it, to their financials, and margins will go lower. And I think the question will become, are they going to pass full amounts? And I think some will try, but when you get double-digit increases, especially for a lower priced retail like a Walmart that's going after the lower end, a 10% plus increase, that's painful for the consumer. So I think it'll be very interesting. I think it's a negative for the retailers, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this impact them in the next 2 quarters.
Brad, I'm curious, which categories are most exposed at the moment? Are we looking at apparel or perhaps some of our favorite electronics as well?
Across the board, Mike, I think you see Certainly on food and just general discretionary, I think you're going to see an impact. I think on the auto side, clearly there's an impact. But really, I mean, it's really across all segments
Yeah.
of the retail sector. So footwear, apparel, consumer discretionary, all of it will go higher.
Yeah, let's jump ahead now and some relief for UK trade. I understand new UK EU agreements are reducing friction around food and emissions trading. It's a step towards economic stability with modest gains projected, I understand. What kind of boost could we see?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to increase the UK's GDP by a little bit. I think this is important to watch because, clearly we're now, several years post that Brexit. And, there's been a lot of tensions between UK and EU. And I think now with what's happening, especially here stateside, and the pressure that countries are having on tariffs, I think a lot of countries are trying to find, other ways and different trading partners. And I think it's a good news because you could ultimately get an increase and see a little bit more spend out in the region. I think there'll be a little bit easier to contract deals, but it's still in its early days. I thought it was interesting to see. Got a lot of press here in the States, but ultimately, I think this is a positive for the UK and the UK markets.
Curious to know who stands to gain the most, farmers, fishers, or perhaps manufacturers, do you think?
Yeah, you just hit all three on the head. I think on the fishing side was a unique, interesting twist. I think you're going to see some of the publicly traded corps there benefit. On the steel side, you'll see some interesting, beneficiaries. But I mean, really across the board, this is a positive for the UK. Now, the bigger question is what percentage and how big will this be in the whole scheme of things, and will it be enough to offset some of the negative trade concerns with other countries? But ultimately, this is a positive and step in the right direction. I think you're going to see more commentary towards that point of view as well.
Yeah, okay, let's turn our attention to those precious metals. Gold and silver are back in focus, and silver's industrial demand could make it the sleeper asset to watch. Why are precious metals gaining so much attention in the current climate, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I probably sound like a broken record here, Mike. I've been talking
Yeah.
about precious metals being, it should be inside people's portfolios for I think almost maybe 2 years now in the program. If you look at a hedge against current environments, if you look at tangible assets, you look at how they go into manufacturing. There's so many positives with precious metals. On the gold side, that it's just a great hedge against inflation. It's a great hedge against economic uncertainty, and it's a tangible asset class across the world that has value. On the silver side, there's also manufacturing and then benefits, from raw silver, and that's a different play. But also on the precious metal side, they should also be benefiting. So I continue to believe that we'll see precious metals continue to go up and to the right. I mean, nothing goes up linearly, so they'll see pullbacks, but at least get higher over the next several years.
Yeah, Brad Gastworth, I want to thank you for joining us on the program, as always, running us through everything that's going on out there in this wild market world.
Perfect. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.